All right, Tony Mormino, AHR Expo 2025. I'm here at the CDI Booth, Climate by Design, with the new COO, Mike Peterson. Mike, how are you?
Doing great. We appreciate you stopping by every year. It's always
Awesome.
a highlight for us.
That's great.
So thank you for coming by.
Well,
What can I teach you about desiccant today?
well, let's do a general Desiccant 101,
Okay.
and then we'll talk about some applications of what's hot in the industry right now.
All right. So Desiccant 101, we are removing moisture out of the airstream using a desiccant rotor. So a desiccant rotor has primarily made up of silica gel, and there are two airstreams. One airstream is removing the moisture, and the second airstream is regenerating that desiccant wheel. So we have an example unit behind us that we could kind of walk through in more detail when that's appropriate. But that's where all the magic happens, right in this little rotor.
So that's a miniature version of a desiccant wheel.
That's right.
So what is the material this is actually made of?
About 80% of it is silica gel.
Silica gel, like you'd find in a little packet of your shoes.
That's right.
Adsorbs,
Adsorbs,
not absorbs, adsorbs.
Yeah.
An absorption process doesn't change the material like absorbing.
That's right.
Is that right?
It's a
I'm
surface
trying to figure it out. I don't know if this is going to focus or
level
not, but I'm going to put this in there. Like,
Yeah, we're not. The material isn't taking on water in the material. It's attracted. The water is attracted by the surface of the material. That's the difference.
and it works off of vapor pressure.
That's right.
So one side gets heated, comes out of this unit very hot and full of humidity, kind of like a dryer vent.
That's right.
And then the other side gets very dry. Now, we're talking about drying air in typical dehumidification. We're taking air, 80, 67, dry bulb, wet bulb, and we're bringing that down to the low 50s maybe.
That's right.
Right? Which is about a 50-degree dew point-ish. These types of products, we can go down to, what's the lowest dew point you've ever done?
Minus 100.
Minus 100 dew point. So almost an immeasurable amount of moisture in
It
air,
is
right?
very close to immeasurable. There's the commercially available sensors don't usually go that low. So
Right.
a lithium battery plant, typically you're discharging at about minus 70.
Okay.
And
That's a dual wheel unit typically,
big beast.
Yeah.
Dual with rotor. You're taking, you're at the end of the unit, you're discharging at single-digit parts per million of water vapor.
Wow.
To give you some context.
Wow.
So taking all the moisture out of that air.
Very low.
But generally speaking, to your point earlier, we don't even start looking at desiccant applications until below about a 45-degree dew point, line and lower. And then within that range, there are 3 or 4 categories of different desiccant configurations and systems that kind of align well with the application need. So the battery is kind of on the drier end of the extreme.
The extreme side is the battery. Then you have like surgery
maybe,
suites, maybe.
Yeah, ice arena, surgical suite. Those are a different category, I would call it.
Above zero dew point typically.
Yeah, usually teens, single digit, something like that.
Right.
So still dry relative to the mechanical cooling dehumidification industry.
Yeah. And I like to use 45. I like to take a psych chart and draw a line at the 45 dew point.
Yeah.
Anything under that, you're probably either all desiccant or at least some desiccant.
Right.
Sometimes you could do a chill water job at 40-degree dew point, but then you have some desiccant product there doing some kind of removal. You end up with a little bit of sensible heat in the air, but that's the easy thing to remove, other than the moisture.
Yeah, and there'll be certain applications where, like what you just said, you might have a lot of the air going through the desiccant wheel, but not all of it, for that reason.
So talk to me about the two sides of the wheel, the air streams. There's the process side and the regen side. Did I get that right?
You got it. So the process air stream is typically a larger segment. So if you think about it as a pie shape, about 75% of that pie is designated for the process air, and that's the air that you want to dry. And then the other 25% is our regeneration or reactivation airstream. And that is what allows the water vapor to be desorbed off the rotor and exhaust it into atmosphere and get ready to take on some more moisture as it rotates back into the airstream, the process airstream.
And what type of heat is typically used on the regen side?
Well, that's changing. Historically, I would say gas was probably our most common reactivation, direct fired gas.
Because it's got a lot of BTUs.
That's right,
It's
it
easy.
does.
You can
Gas.
pour a lot of, you don't need a big old wire and upgrade the
right.
electrical infrastructure. And I'm teasing a little bit because we face the, the decarbonization and electrification, which, in some cases makes a little bit of sense. In some cases, you're going to scratch your head, because the amount of kW required here to regen is immense, right? Especially if you don't have, if it's, you're trying to retrofit something or something like that. So anyway, it's usually
electric
it was gas.
is becoming more of a thing. We've done steam, other heat sources as well, but those are the most common.
Gotcha. So size of units, the one behind us would be a baby unit for you guys.
Yeah, this is on the small end. So this particular unit is about 1,500 CFM.
It's got
largest
one rotor in it. Rotor in it.
Single rotor is more the most common.
Yeah,
for sure.
To get into this extreme low dew points.
That's right. Yeah, the
and
dual
no pulse
rotor
cooling
is really just for more of the extreme dew point conditions. So we essentially break the units into kind of three buckets. So you've got our standard unit, which is an example that's shown back here. And it's got, doesn't have all the bells and whistles, right?
Right.
No pre-cooling, integrated. And then you've got the custom applications, which are on the other side of the ditch, which we're really working closely with the end user or the customer to understand their needs and tailor fit that solution. And then you've got something in the middle, and we'll call that configurable. And that is a little more flexibility, but has some of the standard features from our standard product line to help keep that cost down. And so we apply those products into different markets depending on the need.
Gotcha. All right.
So it's not a one size fits all. It's you can think about it as three different buckets. So one of the things that we have observed over the last 2 years is with the increase in demand of the battery space, there's been a lot of new players in our industry. And so a lot of people trying to get into the desiccant space, I'll say. And so that's created some interesting dynamics out there. And I think the one thing that would be helpful to understand is kind of what sets CDI apart, what makes us unique.
Yeah.
So this particular equipment, this is an industrial grade unit for food grade applications, things like that, which is a lot of where our roots are as a company. And so that's built to last emphasis has really been there throughout our whole history. So that's one unique difference with our dehumidification systems that really sets us apart. I think the other piece is a little bit more cultural, and it ties into our core values, and that's integrity. That's a very important core value for CDI. And so what does that mean to our customers and users? It really means that we're going to do what we say we're going to do.
That's right.
At the end of the day, they've got to trust that we can deliver the dry air that we said we were going to deliver, and we're going to do everything possible to make sure that happens.
And I've been working with you all for 20 years now, and I could tell you as a rep, I love working with your company. You've always been there, and you're always on the cutting edge. And I could say, too, like if you're new and you're watching this and you're Googling around desiccants and things like that, anybody can make a submittal that looks good. I could start a desiccant company tomorrow and make a submittal that would blow your mind.
That's right.
But that doesn't really mean a whole lot when you have to see what goes into making, especially an extremely low desiccant unit. I was just up at your new factory. It's on in Minnesota, and I can say the best way to learn to differentiate the company, learn about desiccants in general for one, but to differentiate the company if you're trying to purchase from company A or B, go to the factory, go to their factory, go to your factory. And I think it's really, to me, an eye-opener as soon as I walk in somewhere like, okay, these guys are legit, or okay, I'm a little bit concerned, right? So I'm assuming you accept folks to your factory.
Absolutely.
As
More
they're-
than happy to welcome new people to understand the technology, see our product offering.
Yeah.
I think the other thing that we've noticed is, a desiccant system is really an applied system,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's you have to understand the application. You have to understand what's critical to the end user, what they're trying to accomplish, and make selections accordingly. This isn't something that is necessarily for all markets anyway, something you can pull out of a catalog.
That's right.
I mean, there are certain things where that might be appropriate, but just the applications engineering that our team has. I mean, we have over 350 years of applications engineering experience just on our front end team. So,
yeah, very impressive. And I would encourage people to go to the factory. It's extremely. You guys did a great job, you and Tom, and it's an amazing place to see cutting edge technology, and really gets you a handle of how these products are made and the care taken into them and the testing. So,
sure.
Awesome. Well, we'll end on that. Well, thanks for watching.
Yeah,
Check out
you.
the show notes, and you get a link to the CDI factory and the CDI website, and go check them out.
Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Mike. Excellent job as usual. Thank you.
Yeah. Whoa. Oh, well, that's a real
Hey.
close up.
How's it going?